Hi there.
Hi, Monkey, I know you!
That's good. Do you remember anything else?
No, but I remember you, so you must know who I am. Who am I? Where are we?
I can't tell you. I can only keep you company.
I don't remember anything. Wait, I remember falling asleep, so I must be dreaming.
You had a choice to make. Do you wake up or keep sleeping?
I don't know.
You decided to keep dreaming, and now it's time for an adventure.
Oh, cool! I love adventures!
Let's go. First, we have to cross the sea.
I'm scared! I want to wake up!
Can't wake up now.
But we're gonna sink! Mama! A ship!
Come on, I'll take you across the sea.
Thanks for saving us!
This storm is scary. You've got to be brave, like when I was afraid.
You were scared?
When I was young, I ran away from home against my parents' wishes. I had to go with my friends to fight my enemies so that my family was safe. I lied to my friends about my age so I could join them. I was so scared.
Did you win?
Barely.
And then you were no longer scared.
No, I was still afraid sometimes. Bravery is about doing what you must, even if you're scared.
Yes, I understand. In fact, I remember now that I've been brave before.
You remember times when you were brave?
No, just that I knew how to be brave. Look, we're at the shore. We made it across the sea.
Thanks to the rescue.
Through the forest next. Whoa, there's fairies here.
Ooh, look at that handsome boy is monkey. Don't look at us. Where are you going? Don't look at us.
Best we ignore them.
Can't ignore this one.
Hello?
This door won't open. We failed you. I failed you. You hate us.
No, hate isn't strong enough for what I feel for you.
I knew it.
I love you, every part of you. You're beautiful. You've always been and you always will be. I remember you now. I will always love you. This isn't your fault.
Thank you.
Do you remember the fairy?
Yes, I remember the fairy. I remember who I am. This is no dream. The fairy is a part of Mama. The sea captain is my great-grandfather. He fought in World War II when he was too young. He survived the war. He died before I was born. And you are my constant companion, my guardian angel. I like how you appeared as my stuffed monkey this time. I remember going to Mama to give her a hug to tell her I was okay, and I fell asleep there. And then I woke up on the shore. I spent almost all my short 2.5 years of life fighting. I hated those stupid nose proms. I've learned all I can from that lifetime. Mama and I are connected forever. I'm waiting for her and watching over her. Always.
I use many different techniques for this storyboard that I learned throughout the course. For the characters themselves, I created templates for each one so the characters looked consistent throughout the storyboard. I tapered lines to add depth in various frames. I also tried to make the trees look larger by having the big ones, having them appear bigger in the front and smaller in the back when he's going down the tunnel. And I tried to keep them all not parallel to the frame, but slightly like off parallel of the frame, like tapering in towards the end of the tunnel, trying to make them look larger. I had Ryan and Monkey tilt their heads back to show how much larger the fairy was in comparison to them. I had lightning bolts in some of the storm frames to show the storm was still ongoing, and I used close-ups of character faces to show strong emotions, and added tears to the fairy's and mother's face to show how much pain they're in. I used grouping techniques that I found in the textbook I had learned earlier to highlight the forest path and kind of put it apart from the rest of the tree so you could see there was clearly a path there. And I also did that with the mast in the sea that the Ryan and Monkey were holding on to, so you can clearly see they're holding on to a mast and it's standing out from the rest of the sea. I made the audience care about Ryan's path by showing how important it was in the last scene, that his reward was that he got to see and meet the rest of his family he hadn't even met yet, and he still got to be with his mom, but in a different form. His journey followed the hero's journey and Aristotle's plot curve. He had mentors, had to face 3 challenges, and he was rewarded in the end. The climax I've had build up slowly, with a rest near the beginning. After the climax, the story wrapped up the rest of the narrative questions. So it followed that curve pretty closely, I would say. Ryan having to guide his mom is one example I have in there of dramatic irony. The monkey is also a dramatic irony because instead of guiding him like an angel normally would, he's being guided by Griffin. Like Ryan's making all the choices. I also included events that propelled the story forward in order to keep the storyboard clear and dramatic. Only the events that helped the story were included. I had other events in mind, but I didn't include them because I think they just would have gone off into a tangent, distracted the viewer, and just wrecked that threshold, made the story longer and boring. So I didn't include those, just events specifically that takes the storyboard in the right direction. With the 2 monologues that I threw in, with the ship captain, I added a close-up of Monkey in the middle of the monologue to keep the flow going so that you weren't dragged into this long monologue. And then at the end with Ryan's monologue, I broke those up. I added flashbacks to those so that you reminded, well, yeah, the fairy is the mom and the sea captain was his great grandfather. You reminded of who the character were, and again, I found that it broke up those monologues a bit more, and it keeps them from being boring. So I used audio and visuals to evoke strong emotional responses from the audience, and that is my intention. I could have just put the dialogue underneath it, like in the frames as bubbles or underneath, but I think that would have broken the threshold of awareness. So I used a voice changer, one of the free ones I found online, to add different voices in so that there was a bit of audience, so that the illusion was a bit better. And then with the visuals, I did close-ups of the characters' faces to show their emotions. I showed the tears on the fairies' faces, on the mother's face to show their pain. I did wide shots to show how big the sea is compared to the ship. But also, when Ryan was holding his knees on the ship by the mast, I did a close-up to show that he was feeling better, but he was still a little scared. So that's why he's holding his knees, just to show that he was relieved, but he still needs, he's not ready to stand up yet. And then when he stands up at the end, when the sea captain's done telling his story, that's when he's like, "Oh, I get this. I understand. I remember I've been brave before. Just don't remember when." It's kind of showing that. I had Ryan turn his head to the characters he was talking to, and I had the other characters facing Ryan. And that way I was able to direct the audience's eyes to the person that was speaking. And I used arrows as well to indicate when Ryan was turning his head, or I used an arrow at one point to show that Monkey was nodding his head in agreement with Ryan. And as I said, that mostly I use that audience though just to preserve the threshold of awareness, because I really think that helped with the illusion. So in the end of it all, I think all these techniques helped me create a really engaging storyboard. I would have loved to add music for even greater emotional effect. That was right near the end of the textbook that it was talking about that. And it makes sense. I do find that with movies, when depending on the music, it actually determines whether I personally like the movie or not a lot of times. So, I mean, music, background music, and then the main music that you will sometimes hear at the end, all of it adds to emotional effect, which I can definitely see. I think Disney uses that quite a bit as well. So I would have loved to add some music in there, but the only music that really seemed to fit was the Never-Ending Story theme song, and that one is like heavily copyrighted, so to use on YouTube. So I didn't want to spend like $50 or $100 to throw music on there. If this had been a presentation where it wasn't going on YouTube, I would have thrown the music. I would have thrown that theme on there. So, the other technique that I tried to use in there is I tried to keep the I'm trying to remember the ground. I tried to keep all the characters kind of on the same ground level, so that it looked like they were all part of the same scene. I think I managed to accomplish that pretty well. So, and then in some of the scenes, I would make like Ryan and Monkey. For example, in the forest scene, I made their heads much bigger than the trees, because they were closer to the camera than the trees were. So, yeah, I did that. Unfortunately, my drawing isn't the greatest, but I tried to make it seem. I tried to bring those effects in as well to give illusions of depth. So, in the end, though, I do think the storyboard turned out well, and that is my presentation.